Make sure the sound is up. There we go. Hold on. Sorry about that. There we go. There we go. Noise right here anyway. So we're back. All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. My name is Kenny Poet Macwa, standing Sarasota, Tri-Fishing Lake First Nation, Saskatchewan, Canada, Treaty 4 territory, Anishinaabe 60 Scoop survivor, published author. Welcome to We Are the Medicine Circle, and this is what we look like right here, just in case you don't know. What we look like right here, this is a braid of sweetgrass, and this is kind of exactly what we look like, all intertwined and overlapping medicine and prayers. And if no one said that they love you today, I love you very much, which simply really means I just want you to live your best life, connected to all those beautiful things that bring us life. And the reciprocal would be, the exchange would be, the full circle would be that standing there, we love you too. So that's how we do it. Here, oh, I didn't know it was in the background. So anyway, a couple of housekeeping things that we do in the morning. We had some issues with this yesterday. It was the lag in the audio. Sometimes there's sometimes one of us gets frozen. I got frozen like 19 times yesterday. Just know that I'm not going anywhere. Just hang tight, and the spinning wheel of death is right there. Just know that I'm not going anywhere. If I get kicked off, I'm going to hit that play button again. And we're going to pick up right where we left off and finish out the meditation. Also, a couple of you noted last week, I've been doing this for a while now. So coming off 2 platforms. So we're coming off Facebook here, but we're also coming off of YouTube Live right from my channel. So it is Standing Bear the author. So and we didn't have any problems yesterday with the spinning wheel. They kicked me off as coming off the same system. So that's really weird. Conspiracy theory time. So anyway, just know that that's my channel. Also, we have a library, and so everything that we do here is over on the YouTube channel. So so if you miss something here, just go over there. There's a lot of other teachings over there too that we do. So yeah, just go, please like and subscribe over there, and yeah. So also like every 4 or 5, 6 months, we develop a new tag list. That's just the way it is. It seems to work out best that way. So just so you know, we have 160 people on that tag list. So we're not going to get around to you every day. So it's going to be like a rotation system. So just know that that's that, because I know there's always a couple comments. Well, you asked for tag me, you never tag me. So that's that's where we're at. If you would like to be tagged, just leave your comment, but just write that you would like to be tagged in the feed there, and we'll put you on that list. that's about it. Okay, so let's begin. Let's begin in a good and beautiful way. Here, let's begin with a little smudge. A little smudge there. Here we go. Also, let's get a volunteer. Let's get a volunteer here to to keep a little smudge throughout the morning circle in remembrance for the residential school children who never made it home, and also for their families. I may add, because that's a direct request from a grandmother out in Vancouver. And when the grandmother suggests that, it's no longer a suggestion. We just do that, right? So please and thank you. Give me a little heart. Give me a little thumbs up if you can just kind of keep this going here throughout. Got it really smoky here, so all right. So let's begin, and let us begin in a good and beautiful way. Let's begin. The old one said, if it doesn't begin with prayer, then it doesn't begin. If it doesn't begin with spirit, then it doesn't begin. And I would just like to add, if it doesn't begin with offering, then it really doesn't begin. So a little bearism this morning. So if you would like to offer with me, that would be good. We got a little help from above here, a little help from below. And then to all my relations, Kitchi Manitou, Great Spirit, Creator, Chi Megwich for our breath, Chi Megwich for our circle, Chi Megwich for our day, Chi Megwich for our life. We are grateful for our last breath, and we are hopeful for our next, and we live in that beautiful place in between. We come here today. We mean no harm in what we do. We come here in a good way, sacred way, and humble way. We come here to sit in circle. We may come here for a lot of reasons, but the first reason always is life. Life is most important. Without life, we have nothing. So we come here and we celebrate all life as if it was our own, because it is. We celebrate all nations, tribes, and circles. We celebrate those things that give us life. We celebrate all directions. We celebrate those nations that don't look like the two legs, like the sandy nations, the ones that offer the world breath. We say thank you. To the swimming nations, the ones who look after the water for us, who teach us how to live in harmony and balance with the water, we say thank you, because we have trouble keeping our waters clean. To the wind nations, the ones who look after the air force, the wind and air, because we as two-leggeds, we have trouble with our clean air. To the creepy crawlers and the slitheries, the ones who teach us how to stay close and grounded to Mother Earth, we say thank you. To the four-legged nations, circles, and tribes, we understand you offer us and teach us so much about our humanity, because we have forgotten how to be human. And for your teachings, we say thank you. And of course, to other two-legged nations, circles, and tribes, we understand that you are our teachers as well. Makes our ears and our hearts very happy. We give thanks for those things that give us life. Air, water, fire, and earth. Those are the things that we celebrate. We celebrate all seven directions because we know love, life, wisdom, and light come from all directions. The wind does not just blow in one direction, it blows from all directions. That's how we know. We celebrate the ones who have come before us, our ancestors. And remember, they are our relatives here, which all life is. They are our ancestors over there because they lived accordance with spiritual law. They walked with natural law. And they passed this along to us. They offered this to us. And we understand this. We also understand that some of our two-legged ancestors were hurt, wounded, abused, and traumatized. And they also passed this along to us. And we acknowledge this is a time of great healing. It's a time of grieving, time of mourning. And we acknowledge during this time it's okay not to be okay. But the more we heal, the more we understand that what was offered to us, those hurts and wounds, were not for us to carry, but for us to heal from. So we offer a great thank you for this healing. And we don't do it just for ourselves because that would be selfish. We want to be selfless. That means we look forward to the next seven generations. We live in this beautiful intersection between two unseen worlds, but yet they can hear and see everything that we do. So let us offer ourselves in all directions. Offer our love. Offer our humility. Offer our healing. So we can break those chains of violence, lateral violence, drug addiction and drinking. We can break those chains. It doesn't have to be the way it's always been, the sadness, loneliness, depression, the thing that they offer us. We don't have to receive that anymore. We don't have to keep it. And we can just give it away and be like, no, thank you. And the great spirit Kitsi Manitou was smart and wise. Gave us a trail to follow, a well-worn trail, one offered to us by our ancestors, well-worn by them. This is the red road, the road of wellness, the road of all people, the road of unity. But the beautiful thing is we can only see it with our hearts. And there are teachings along this road that when followed, when walked, when aligned with, will lead us a good life. Humility, courage, love, truth, honesty, wisdom, and respect. So today, let us make good relations with these teachings and these principles, and we will know a better version of ourselves. We will know a better version of ourselves. And we will draw closer to remembering and knowing and understanding, respecting, honoring, and loving the first prayer at the center of the universe. The one that is right here, harmony and balance, the ancient sacred agreement that we have forgotten. But today, let's sit in circle and let's remember this beautiful prayer. Let's remember that this beautiful road, the road of wellness and unity And it is not the indigenous people that own this road. We are only stewards of this road. That's Nobody owns these things. Nobody owns Mother Earth. So let us come here today and sit together in a good way, in a sacred way. Wonka pick, let us listen in a sacred way. Oh, all right. Okay, well, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. Once again, my name is Kenny Boyd Mac Watts, Standing Bear, Soda Tribe, Fishing Lake First Nations, Saskatchewan, Canada, Treaty 4 Territory, Anishinaabe, 60 Scoop Survivor. And once again, it's an honor for me to be here. I am not, kind of has to be said. And we're just going to say it again, that I am not leading. It may look by all appearances that I'm leading this thing. I am absolutely not. I am in the service of the Great Spirit, and I'm in the service of the circle. So, that's kind of the way it is. And really no other place I'd rather be than sitting right here with you on a beautiful July 9th, Sunday morning. So, and if no one said that they love you today, I love you very much. It's just simply, I want you to live a really good life, Yeah, yeah. Okay. If you're new here, a couple of things before we go over the kind of preamble things. Hollow bones. The short definition is we understand that there's a life force that flows through all life, right? Both seen and unseen, right? It's that beautiful light. It reflected in everything. The plants, the flowers, the sun, the moon. It's reflected in everything, right? We want to connect to that life force, right? So, there was a question a couple of days ago. So, well, why do we want to be hollow bones? We already have life. I'm like, well, that's pretty good. But, the problem is we think we're separated from that life. That's a very short answer. So, we think, growing up, I thought that we were the only, life force on the planet, right? Because that's what that colonial world kind of offered. Well, we're the smartest, the wisest, and, all this. And, that puts us in a place of entitlement, right? So we destroy those things that are around us when we're entitled, right? That's like the sickness. But when we make conscious contact with them, when we understand that they're all sentinel beings, right? All plants, all flowers, all like the sunrise, the sunset, and the clouds, the stars, and the star, they're all sentinel beings. That means they all have this beautiful level of consciousness, right? All all things have a voice, right? All things have a language, but not all language is spoken, right? The way we speak it, right? You know, and this is kind of a little back and forth with that person. Well, we're already alive. Why would we do that? Well, and you know what? We're going to talk about that today, actually, in the reading. And I just kind of brought them up to my tree story. I am all heart all the time, right? That's what that tree says, right? I'm like, wow, that's really amazing, and that story alone changed my life. I'm like, whoa, I heard it like the way I'm listening to you. It's like, I'm like, whoa, that's like, wow, life changing, life altering. So when we understand that there's a beautiful consciousness there, and part one is that we connect to that consciousness. Part two is we offer that back. That means we give prayers, life. That means we pray with those things and for those things that give us life, up to including our enemies, right? So water, fire, air, earth, right? Kind of starting all seven directions, kind of like the way we started it, like the opening prayer. That's really kind of the way, that's like the blueprint and like how to live a really good life, right? So, okay, ancestors and elders. So it's very traditional that we thank those who have come before us. So thank you to my direct elder, Tony Stonehawk. Been with him for 30 years, would not be here if it wasn't for Tony's guidance, wisdom, compassion, and gentleness, right? Because I was not a gentle guy when I got here. So thank you, Tony. Thank you, all those other men and women elders Mushins and Cookums who guided me in a really good and beautiful way. Thank you for that. And we kind of talk about this occasionally. There's this one person in particular said, "Man, you should say this every day." It's kind of like, oh, okay. One of the reasons why we mention elders every thank you and gratitude, other than it's always good to be grateful, right? That's really, really powerful medicine. It's like it shields us from like all those other things, right? So one of those things is uh, we think that we, as indigenous people, the majority of the world think that we were allowed to do this. No, it was it was illegal for us to do what we are doing right now back in 1970. Right? We could not do it. We could not gather. We could not talk about sacred and spiritual things. Particularly, could not have our ceremonies too. Like if they caught us, they would put us in jail, probably murder us, just kill us, murder us. Guys like me. So it's very important that we acknowledge that, and we acknowledge the fact that there was people here, my ancestors, that walked through that had ceremony anyway, that they went into the bush. They went into the bush and they had these ceremonies in secret. So it's very important that we acknowledge that. So okay. Circle medicine. No one's in front of us, no one's behind us, no one's above us, no one is below us. We are all equal here. This is us right here. This is all of us right here. Thomas Tank, Thomas, Nina, Allison, Standing Bear, Heather. This is everybody right here. We are all intertwined and overlapping. So there's recurring themes here. That's one of them. So we are always connected, right? And that's the deal, right? So that includes the plants, the animals, the ancestors, the future 70. Like we're all just sitting in the same circle, man. That's like, there's one thing that I want you to think about today that really, like a takeaway today. That person yesterday said, the last couple of days said you forgot to say the takeaway for and I'm like, I think that's a real good idea. So we'll just get that out of the way right now. So what's your takeaway? So that could be your takeaway. Just throwing out some ideas there. There's no separation between you and me, and that's what the circle medicine really represents. That we are all equal here, right? Just because it's not patriarchy, hierarchy, not any kind of like not anything like that, right? So when it's sacred feminine, the life givers. Okay. So, this is contrast medicine. So like we understand that the Western colonial patriarchal powers and, religions, they love to marginalize our sacred feminine. We would not be here if it weren't for the sacred feminine. That's all of us. Saying that's all of us. So it's good to acknowledge. It's really good to acknowledge with gratitude. That's why we do that. Acknowledge, love, offer. Thank you to the sacred feminine. Thank you for being and it's nice to be acknowledged. And like I don't know how many patriarchal circles that you go in that they acknowledge the fact that you are equal, right? Right, but over here, we acknowledge that we are all equal, and that you are included in that. So, okay, moving on. Question of the day. Please keep your questions, concerns, comments coming. I do not guarantee. I feel like a lawyer when I do that. So, do not guarantee that I will get around to all of them, but I will get around to as many as I can. I get sometimes 20, 30 messages a day, right? Sometimes 40 or 50, depending on the ebb and the flow of it. So today's question, here it says here, what is your opinion about so they're talking about, there was a little back and forth, so they're talking about like Eastern philosophies, like from India type thing, right? So what's your opinion about India's gurus and spiritual masters? And then I said, well, this is my reply. Well, I don't want me to have an opinion on love like that, other than their brothers and sisters. But, it's, and you know what? Again, it's always, the reading today is really lined up with the questions. And I do not set that up. That's just the way the spirit kind of guides us. So uh, the question today, um, and the reading today, the meditation, they're lined up perfectly. So, but if I were to answer the question independently, and I said, well, that's kind of like a broad question, right? So give me something to work on. Give me something, So, there was um, so uh, one of those things is, just having like a guru or a master or something like that. Like I would never say that I'm like master saving bearer or like guru saying I like that's a lot to handle. That's too much for me to handle. I don't even want that, right? It's not in alignment with my teachings as far as um, humility, right? So I would never come to you and say to Kayla, hey, I'm master snow group. I'm master. I would never do that, right? It sounds weird, right? That's just not me. That's not my medicine. It's different medicine. And other than saying it's different medicine, I don't have to have an opinion about that, right? I just don't. That hey man, that's your thing, right? That's your thing. That's your thing, really. And you know, other than that, also here's a really good teaching. Also, you know, we always look for the good in those things. So this is a situation that we always look for the good, right? We always look for the good. So like say we don't overlook too, we just don't acknowledge, right? We just don't acknowledge. So because it keeps us out of alignment. Everything we're trying to do is we're trying to stay in, guard our walk in alignment, right? Right. And we can do that. The more gentle we do that, the better off we are. And that you can write down. That the more gentler we are, in that means we don't have to get angry. We don't have to get upset. We don't have to, we don't have to create like any kind of adversarial type thing. We just say, okay, just kind of like move along, right? That's really, when we come to that place, we really understand our power, right? We really, like, you know, and it has to be said, we come from an adversarial society. That's what the colonial world is: left, right, up, down, good, bad, better, worse. That's why we always say we leave that at the door. Democrat, Republican, liberal, whatever that is, right? But like they have to create some sort of adversarial. Somebody has to be right. Somebody has to win, and that's really not the way of the circle. That's not the way of humility, right? It's just not. So what do? We just leave it alone, right? Okay, okay, all right. I would rather leave prayers than opinions. Write that down. You know, when we come to that place, that's what we say, right? Right. That's okay. You know, Wayne, you're wrong. Okay, I'll just move along. Wayne, your past is this. Oh, well, okay, just move on. Like when they attack you in person, that's being adversarial. That's nothing more than being adversarial, right? That's them. That has nothing to do with me, right? So the same thing when we go inwardly, we go outwardly. It's the same thing because that's the way of the circle, right? So okay, so that was like the preamble to the question. The question is, what's your opinion about India's gurus and spiritual masters? Okay, not really my medicine. Okay, move along. Not really my medicine, right? Because it places us in a different place outside. I feel like it's outside the circle, like it's kind of like some sort of hierarchy type, where we have to bow, we have to, kind of like, okay, well, he's up there, he's up there, she's up there, they're the master up there. Oh God, please, oh God, it's kind of like that. It's not really my thing, but that's your thing. Hey, but, hey, you know, it's like I tell my sponsees, like, do something until you want to make a better decision, and you have to make a better decision, right? Whether you want to drink or not. Well, we'll do that until you need and want to have to make a better decision. Until then, I don't know, just keep doing what you're doing until, we get into that place of, pain is like a great motivator, right? I choose not to be in pain anymore today. Like, like I don't need that little nudge from a judge or that pain motivator in order for me to transform or grow. But sometimes that's what you need, right? that's okay. I would rather just sit here in circle, sit with Tony, learn from Tony, and then do what Tony does. That's really what happened. That's it's really other than that. And when I sat with the elders, I'm just really like aligned with them, right? When that's why sitting in close proximity is really important, because we get that real energy. Like, oh my God, it's like this beautiful thing, this beautiful, calm, gentle. Like, I'm like, wow, I've never felt that before. Yeah. So the other spiritual thing is, we just touched upon that, is being in close proximity, right, that energetic feel, that those people that are in alignment with natural and spiritual law, they just have that, right? And they just have that. Some people just are born natural with that. They just live according to spiritual law. They don't judge, they pray, they do all this stuff. It boggles my mind, but that's just the way it is. And one of those things is, getting back to the question. I think I went away from the question a little bit. So I said, well, just give me an example of what you're even talking about, right? Because there's a lot of philosophies, and so they said all religions are already inside us. And I'm like, well, okay, well, I don't know about that, right? I don't know anything about religions. I just really don't. But natural and spiritual law. That's my thing, right? That's what guides me to loving you. And you can write that down. That's what guides me to loving you. That's why I do this, right? You know, yeah, yeah. I don't know about religions, because religions is like, you have to believe in the hymn. That's like a really bad thing, right? That's a really bad thing. You have to believe Father, Son, Holy Ghost, not even a sacred feminine in sight, right? That's not quite the harmony and balance that we're looking for. In fact, that puts us out of harmony and out of balance, right? And we can take a run in any one of these religions, right? It's just kind of like like the one that says we are the chosen people. I'm just, oh my God, that's like, there's nothing more chaotic than saying that, right? There's nothing more chaotic than creating and maintaining signs that we are the chosen people. Right? No, I think we're all in the same circle, right? I think we're all humans, right? That's a religion that I want to be a part of, and that's what natural law says. So I don't understand these gurus that I just don't understand. I don't have to understand, and in fact, I don't even have to have an opinion about it. I'd be like, okay, good. That's fine. That's fine, and that's the kind of religion that I want to be a part of. That spiritual and natural law that says, I don't really need an opinion. I really don't. I just like because once we have an opinion, then we start throwing our happiness and serenity away like confetti. Once we get angry, then that's what we're doing. That's the other end of the spiritual spectrum. And you're like, well, I'm right, and we're just taking our boxes over, and then at the end of the day, we're like exhausted. We're like, oh my God, I was so busy trying to be right and prove to them that I'm right, that I have nothing left inside me. Right. That's how you know that we're out of balance. So anyway, okay. So please keep your questions and comments coming. I do not guarantee that I will get around to all of them, but I will do the very best I can. Okay. So we are here to the reason why we are here. We are also daily medicine right here. I know you can see them backwards. That's always a comment. So Whispers from the Hollow Bone, daily medicine, meditations, Hollow Bones meditations, Medicine Wheel 7 teaching meditations. When we sit with these, we're just better people. Right? We're just better people. Right? We're happier, and like that's the other thing. There was a comment, well, can you explain this happiness to me? That was a comment. And I said, what do you mean? I said, well, we're supposed to be happy. I don't understand that. We're supposed to be happy. We're supposed to be aligned, and we're supposed to be happy. That's what we're supposed to be. So this question was kind of like they don't understand happiness, right? Well, here's like the thing. at the end of today's, in about 30 minutes, like, you know, and kind of write this down too. It's like I feel better after meditation than I do before. I mean, I wake up a pretty happy guy, right? I got the coffee, I got this going on, and I do my meditation, I do my prayers, and, my personal stuff, and then I write out the script, and I do this, and it's like my happiest moment of the day, right? And then I get to come here and I get to share that, and then at the end of sharing, at the end of offering, I feel pretty good, right? I feel pretty good, right? And that's the happiness right there, and that's what we're supposed to do. It may not look exactly the way I do it, but that's what we're supposed to do, right? And we're here to create that beautiful place of being happiness. We're supposed to be happy, right? Right. And one of those things. Let's circle back to what we more prayers than opinions. Like if you want to, take a look at that. If you're angry, sad, upset, depressed, like hey, just take a look at that right now. So anyway, let's go over daily medicine September 2nd. Today, and what we're going to do, and if we could get a volunteer to put that in the feed right here, that means the whole meditation, right? So daily medicine September 2nd. What we're going to do is we're going to read it a couple of times, develop a general impression. So there's 20, 25 of us here, 22 of us here. So what we're going to do is if we read one meditation, there's going to be 22 different perspectives, and we have to understand and really learn, really just sit with this, just understand that this is not about right or wrong, right? We have to get out of that mindset. Oh my God, Wayne's been doing this for 30 years. He's got to be right. That's just. I just have a different perspective. That's all it is. It's not good, it's bad. It's just like, and the fact is there's room for me to grow, right? So let's take a look at this. The universe is, 14.7 billion years old, and I've been around for 52 of them, right? 52 years, right? So like, how much do I really know? Probably not a whole lot, right? So, but together, that's the beautiful thing. When the medicine gathers, then we all grow. That's the deal, right? That's why we do that. So, okay, get to it and do it. So, daily medicine, September 2nd. If our personal growth and transformation do not include the protection and healing of Mother Earth, it is incomplete. First impression, what does that mean to you? What does that mean to you? Right? Beautiful and powerful, right? Very simple. Very simple, very beautiful. Let's read it again. If our personal growth and transformation do not include the protection and healing of Mother Earth, it is incomplete. Wow. Wow. Okay, let's start. Like how many times did I go to Tony and be like, Tony, where did we start? Well, let's start at the beginning. So let's start at the beginning, right? Tonyism now Bearism. So let's just start off with the word if. If seems to be a fork in the road here, right? There's a choice there, right? There's a choice here. All right, let's start off with that. What does that mean that there's a choice, right? That means we get to choose which path we want to go on, right? Like that. There is a path of anger, loneliness, despair, right? Loneliness, depression, raise your hand if you know that road, right? No, that road, right? That's the medicine that the colonial world offers. That's just, it's not a good or bad thing. That's just it, right? If you're sad, lonely, depressed, scared, afraid, and lonely, then that's that world that we're in, right? That's not a good or bad thing. It's just a recognition of, right? So But then there's another choice, right? There's another choice, right? And we have to be absolutely clear and intentful about this. That's what that if means, right? Write that down. We have to be clear and intentful. Absolute, right? I don't like the word absolute, but here it absolutely works, right? What is the first letter in if? I, right? Right. That has to be noted, right? It just has to be noted. Like, I can't make this stuff up. It's like, okay, so you're sitting there, wherever you are, and you say, well, okay, right. Maybe you're in a place of pain or heartbreak or loneliness or scared or afraid, and this is like, well, okay. And we're a little confused, like when we live in that chaos, confusion, and that crisis that colonial world offers us, then it is very confusing, right? It leads to confusion, right? Right? And say, oh my God, it feels that sense of overwhelming, right? You know, oh my God, I don't know what to do, and I wear stuff. Well, thank God, thank Creator for this opportunity for us to sit together, for the elders and the ancestors for offering this medicine um, here, right here. That has to be acknowledged, right? So let's proceed in a good way. So let's put that gratitude in our hearts. And hey, look, there is a beautiful way. There's another way. It doesn't have to be the way it's always been. We said that in the opening prayer, and now it's here, right? So let's move forward. Okay, so the first letter in this meditation is I. What is the second word? It's our. I can't even make this up. I'm really not that clever, man. I'm really not. I and our. We are intertwined, overlapping, connected. This is telling us there's no separation here. There's no separation between I and our. Right? I read that this morning and I sat with that and I freaking marveled about that. I'm like, how can that be? Right? It's right here in front of us, right? And thank God for guys like Tony that pointed this stuff out, right? And again, let's just think about this to our YouTubers. This is what we look like. I'm doing a close up here. Hold on. The YouTubers, that's us right here. Close up here. This is us and our. Like if he, I and our, this is what we look like. That's what we look like right here. See, I and our. So beautiful, so simple, so powerful. It doesn't have to be complicated, right? Okay, so if our personal, okay, there's a bookend here, right? Beautiful. Can't make this stuff up. If our personal growth, okay. What does this little part mean to you? What is this offering, right? If our personal growth, and I want everybody to make a note. Maybe it's a notebook inside. Maybe you write it inside the book itself. It's like it said personal and growth. I want you to write down medicine wheel next to that medicine wheel, right? Because we always want to get in the mindset of thinking. That's what Grandfather told me. That's when there's teachings that change my thinking, change my perspective, change my connection, change my outlook, change my prayer, change my life, right? Right. And everything. So part of that medicine wheel, and thank you for that. Thank you for one of you in the circle always pointing this out. I'm pointing out like 3 times so far. It's like this is just a small part of the medicine wheel that we are looking at. So it is everything begins with the spirit, emotional, mental, physical, right? Right. They were all equal parts, but we always begin with the spirit. That's what we are. So if our personal growth, medicine wheel, beginning with spirit, put that right next to there, beginning with spirit. So if it doesn't begin with prayer, then it doesn't begin. If it doesn't begin with spirit, then it doesn't begin. It doesn't begin. And then the Bearism would be if it doesn't begin with offering, then it doesn't begin either, right? That's the Bearism, right? So I feel better already. I feel better already. So if our personal growth, medicine wheel, and transformation, they're a little different, right? You look them up in like the Oxford Dictionary, they're really different, right? But really, so So transformation, dramatic change of appearance, right? That's what they say, right? Dramatic change of appearance. But since we know we're already talking about spiritual, right? What does that look like, right? What does that look like? Dramatic change of appearance. We just spoke about it. We're happy. We're serene. Right? That's further on down the line, but a lot of us aren't there yet, right? And that's okay. Not a place of blame, shame, guilt, because it's just our personal growth, right? You know, and it says here, it has to be noted that let's just um, it's not mentioning here at all about blame, shame, or guilt, right? You know, so what is Spirit telling us about our personal growth? That it's not even necessary to acknowledge, right? The blame, shame, guilt. So if it's not necessary, why do we do it? So let's take a practical look at this. Let's say we're drinking, right? Say we're drinking a drug, right? Say we're unhappy. Maybe we're codependent, right? That's like, we're not drinking, we're not drugging, but we hold somebody hostage, right? Well, that's like codependency, right? You know, I think of you more than I think of myself. That's codependency, right? And that here and now. I need you to make me happy. That's codependency. I need you to be right here because I don't want to take a look at myself. So I'm going to focus in on you and your needs before my own. That's codependency and all those things. And those are like clinical definitions of of codependency. And like a lot of us have that, right? And a lot of us do that with family members, right? Well, you're more important than me, and all this, like, So, okay, so if our personal growth and transformation, dramatic change in appearance of the way we walk, the way we view, the way we see is our perspective, does not include, okay, and here's where the real rift comes from that colonial patriarchy Western world, right? Here's where the real rift is, because now this could be coming out of any book from any colonial, clinical book on psychology, right? Here's where it really changes, right? And you know what? I've spoken to psychologists about this, right? Actually, we're going to do a little sidebar here. So, was in Europe doing my thing, just doing like what we're doing here, with a big group of people, it was at my book opening in Paris, and we happened to have three really well known psychologists, doctors of psychology, the psychologists around, and they heard my story and they said, "Wow, wow, that's beautiful, right? That's beautiful." Well, you know, they acknowledge the fact is there's a beautiful story. So going from where I was to what I'm doing now, right? You know, and then they were saying, "Why?" Because I did this without medication. Right? When I was in that world, they diagnosed me with all sorts of everything, But it wasn't until Grandfather Tony finally said to me, "What happened to you?" Right? That's when my healing really began. That's what I'm offering you. What happened to you? Right? What happened to you? They were diagnosing me with, they were diagnosing me with, okay, you're depressed. Okay, we'll give you that. Not the root cause of depression, right? The root cause of what happened was they took me away from my mother, my earth mother, my spiritual mother, and my biological mother, and then they're wondering why, and like everything after goes sideways, right? And they're like, oh yeah. Okay, you're sad, so we're gonna give you this. Okay, you're just like, okay, you're this too. Okay, so yeah. So you know, just the insanity of it. They didn't ask me what happened to you. They didn't ask me what they did to me or how many times they did it to me. Right, the kind of thing, right? Nobody asked me that. And I was ashamed of doing. That's part of my life. I was really ashamed of, right? Part of my biggest shame was, and here it is, that I was being raised by whites because my culture wasn't good enough to raise me. That was my biggest shame. It was an embarrassment. I was embarrassed, right? My culture could not take care of me. My biological mother, my heritage, my culture, you know, and the part of that was it was, and this is just part of it, like, and back in the day, back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, it was like Indians were dirty, they were alcoholic, we were doing this, so they labeled us that. They're really telling us the truth, right? And really getting back to the three doctors sitting in the room, I'm having a face-to-face conversation. I said, how dare you diagnose us before we tell you what happened to us, right? How dare you do that, right? And the fact is, all of us, every single one, all of us have been torn away from the womb of Mother Earth. Does it sound like this, really? Absolutely. Right? So what are we doing today? We're aligning ourselves with Mother Earth. Why? Because we have a right to be happy. That's our birthright. Right? Like if we're any other way, that's a gauge to tell us that we need some more alignment. We need some more prayer. We need to sit with that place, right? Sit in that place, acknowledge the fact that our mother is earth, right? Our spiritual mother is earth, right? If you're not, let's start there. And then I told them at the end of all this, right? There is a spectrum there, right? I acknowledge the fact that the medical profession is like is a necessary part of society, but not until the very end, right? There are some people that are clinically insane, right? That they're just are. That's just, and that's unfortunately that's just the way it is. And at the end of all this, so at the end of all of this, that has to be acknowledged. But before all this, it has to be, our stories have to be told, have to have knowledge of the fact that they took us away from our Earth Mother. They don't teach us anything about our Earth Mother, how the fire works, the fire in our hearts, how the water works, the water, the ancestors, the air flowing within us, all these beautiful things that we're not even in contact with, that come from Mother Earth, right? Let's talk about that first. Let's talk about that beautiful connection. Let's talk to those beautiful voices. Let's listen to their history. Let's listen to the history of Mother Earth. That's what the indigenous people do. That's what we're still doing. That's what we're offering. That's why we're sitting in circle, because we want to hear something other than ourselves, right? And that you can write down in the clinical world. That's all we know, and in the colonial world, that's all we know. But in spiritual realms, spiritual listening, we listen in all seven sacred directions, both seen and unseen, right? Let's start there. That's what we're doing here. Transformation and growth, that's where it starts. That's what we do every day. Connect to these beautiful. You got me warmed up. I love you. So we connect to this place called humility. Okay, we are Earth. Okay, and you know what? We don't even know ourselves, right? We look in the mirror. We see religions. We see colors. We see race. Ridiculous, right? That has a place in the conversation, but not here and not now, right? We have to acknowledge that we are human. That's who we are. That's like when the elders talk to me about one of the seven sacred teachings. It's about the Sabe. It's the Bigfoot, right? Bigfoot. Yeah, Sasquatch, right? That's part of our medicine wheel. I've seen Bigfoot, right? So I've seen it, right? So Sabe, right? They live their truth, right? They live their truth. That's who they are. That's what they are. That's the turtle lives his truth. The eagle lives his truth. And honesty, being who we are, what we are, and how we're doing it, right? We are Earth. And if we don't include Earth, then how do we know who we are? The fact is, we don't. If we are all related, that's who we are, right? And now we can bring religion, race, and all this. Well, that's right, that's right. Religion, no, thank you. You know, Guru's master, no, thank you, man. We are human first. Right? We are ascended master. Yeah, kind of. I think we're human first. Right? Yeah, I think we're human. Let's work on being human before we do anything now. Let's work on being Earth before we do anything else. Let's work on being family before we do anything else, right? Let's sit there and pray together before we do anything else, right? Let's begin with offering love to each other before we do anything else, right? But the thing is, we are out of balance because we're putting everything else before, you know, we're human, up into including Mother Earth. I love you, including the protection. Okay, why do you, this is very, very important here. Why do you think Spirit put in protection? Why? We're protecting our mother. That's why. Everything that we are comes from Mother, our Earth Mother. Right, right, right. If we're not protecting our mother, we're not protecting what? Ourselves. If we're not protecting Mother Earth spiritually, guess what? We're not protecting spiritually ourselves. Right? We are all related. That's the circle medicine coming in here. Right? The protection, honoring. Right? That's why the water protectors, they're so vital and so brings tears to my eyes. Right? The women that are protecting the water, the men that are protecting the water, people that they are so important, right? The frontliners are so important, right? That's it's not just them; it's what they're doing, it's how they're doing it, right? And what really they're doing, they're putting themselves in harm's way, not just for themselves, but for all of us, right? And all of us includes the next 7 generations, right? Right. Just think about that; brings tears to my eyes. Like, wow, mind by putting themselves in harm's way. Would you put yourself in harm's way for the next 7 generations? Right? I don't know. Uh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You know, absolutely. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. So this is like, and we're not even to like the end. We're not even to the healing part. Well, we kind of talk about that the whole time, but it's just like if our personal growth and transformation, right? Okay. So are you having a hard time transforming? Let's take a step back here. What is your intent? Right. That has to be noted. Right. We talked about that a little. Yeah. Is your intent aligned in with circle intent? Religious intent? I don't know. That really works here, right? Right. Right. What is your intent? Right. Put this down. Write your intent right here. What are you doing here today? It's really important that we acknowledge that, right? And again, this is not about right or wrong. This is what is your intent here, right? Why are we here? Why are we doing what we're doing? Right? Because today's reading kind of calls us out, right? If that's a word that calls us out. Right? If fork in the road, choice, right? What? So okay, so let's state our intent. Let's be really clear here, right? At the beginning of the circle, we set our intent, right? That's why we offer, that's why we pray, right? That's why we use this medicine to help guide us in our beautiful intent, right? Right, right. Transformation healing do not include the protection. We have to protect who we are, what we are, and how we're doing it, right? That means aligning ourselves with the 7 sacred teachings. That really at the end of all of that, really, and we had a beautiful elder come in and remind us of that this weekend. It was really good. You know, like in like the beginning, like their teachings, right? I was like, oh yeah, they're teaching them truth, right? Well, the fact is, we are the truth, right? We just forgotten the fact that we are Earth. It's the same thing, right? And it takes honesty, it takes wisdom, it takes love to really understand that, know that, to walk with that. And I am Earth, right? It's important that I protect Earth because I am Earth. Yeah, let's protect Earth. Let's and we can and not everybody has to be a frontliner, but people have to sit with Mother Earth and acknowledge the fact that she is. That's how we protect her. right? Gratitude, right? Again, all these beautiful aspects, right? I'm so grateful that there's a place I call home, a place that takes care of me for free. I get to breathe today. I get to live today, right? That's a really beautiful thing, right? Let's start there. Hey, listen, you know, there's a beautiful sunrise today. Thank God I was there. Thank God that I was there to notice that, acknowledge that, to offer that. Thank you, Creator, the Great Spirit, for bringing that, for me to be noticing that. Now it gives me a starting point to be more grateful, to live a beautiful, happy life. Okay, let's get around to healing. Okay, healing. Okay, what's the difference between protection and healing? They're both connecting, right? You know, healing. When we heal Mother Earth, we heal circle ourselves. What I do for you, I do for myself. What I fail to do for you, I fail to do for myself. This is full circle medicine. That's what they're talking about here. Right? Full circle healing. So, and if everything begins with the spirit, I write that one down. Everything begins. So protection. So personal growth, transformation, all begin with spirit. So this protection, beginning with spirit. Healing begins with spirit. It all begins with spirit. With that means with offering. You have to offer, right? Tobacco. So we offer tobacco, right? Full circle. Right? Begin with prayer. Okay, good. So now we've stayed in, and now we have to what? Walk with that. That spiritual intent is really, it's when we talk about spirit, it's not some far out place like, oh yeah, I believe in spirit. No, walking, the offering is the prayer, and the spirit is the what? The walking. My gratitude. Spiritual is an action, right? So that's what they're telling us. So healing is what? An action, right? Spiritual action, right? Which includes all of the above, offering, gratitude, includes all that. But we have to what? We have to walk with that all day, right? And then we feel better, right? Oh my God, I'm like happy. Wow, I'm happy. Like, how's that happen, right? Well, probably walking in a good way. Just keep doing what you're doing, right? Well, like if we're at that place, right? Right. Like if we're at that place, we're seeing sad and lonely, and I get it, right? It's impossible to be up here all the time. There's going to be highs and lows. That's just the way it is. Energy ebbs and flows. That's just the way it is. And we have to. So it's not like you're a bad person if you like ebb a little bit, like you have this little moment, right? You're not a bad person. That's just there to remind us to go back to prayer, to sit with prayer, to be in prayer, to do these beautiful things. That's all that means. It doesn't have to be like good or bad, right? It doesn't have to be that, right? So like if there's like a little dip in the energy, don't think, oh my God, I'm a bad person, or I'm doing something wrong. No, just go back to those things. Like in this reading, it doesn't say good or bad, right? It says incomplete, right? That means keep doing what you're doing. Like nowhere in this meditation say, well, you know what? Like if you're sad, like if you have a sad moment, you're a bad person, right? But you know what? You'll get that from, you'll get that from the colonial world. You'll get that from the patriarchal world. That patriarchal religion is set up. A white guy in the sky said you're doing something bad. You're a bad person now. Now you owe me. You're in spiritual debt, right? You owe me. It's kind of like, yeah. But here, let's just simply acknowledge, hey, there's ebbs and there's flows. That's just the way it is, right? Sometimes, and we know that because sometimes it rains, right? Sometimes, sometimes the clouds. Sometimes it's a real dark day and it doesn't rain. So that's just sometimes bright and sunny. Sometimes that just tells us that that's part of that natural thing, and we have to understand that we are part of that natural thing. That's all that means. It's not a good or bad thing, right? It's just okay. Let's come together. Let's sit together. Let's do this thing again. That's why we come together so often right here. This is what we do. So anyway, what time is? Oh my God, we're running kind of over. Jeez. I'm not sure if we've done this. Okay, so healing. Okay, healing, spiritual, emotional, mental, physical. Okay, of what Mother Earth. So she's okay. She's our mother, right? Look after our mother, right? The sacred feminine, right? The bringer of life. Right? Sorry, Miss Keto. Okay, healing, connection. That's what we're really doing here. We're connecting, we're reconnecting, we're making those bonds, those ties stronger, right? And again, this has to be noted. This has to be like a daily thing, right? We have to do something on a daily basis, right? So, you know, so it's not like, hey, I really thanked Mother Earth 3 weeks ago, right? And I really did a good job. I was so happy with that, right? But that's the last time I did anything for Mother Earth. No. We have to make it as a part of our spiritual makeup to be a part of, to walk in, to pray for Mother Earth. Right. So wake up and again, really simple. It's not complicated. We wake up and hey, give thank you. Thank you for life. Then we make that offering. We make that offering. Hey, and then like the other thing of life is here. Hollow bones. We talk about this every day. This has to be said. So okay, now that we're offered life, then we have to give life. We have to give prayers. So if you're in that low moment, right, and that's okay, well, let's just simply take a look at, while we're there, is what are you doing to make life? What are you offering life, right? Maybe do, for me, I'm a big ceremony guy, so I sit in ceremony. Right? I just sit in the active sweat lodge and all that. That's my thing. But not always around sweat lodge, right? But there's a lot of things that we can do to go by the water, go by the river, go by the tree, and hug a tree. Absolutely, right? You know, the cool thing about the trees is they're all related too, right? You know, so there's no wars between the pine trees and the birch trees, right? Right? They're not like fighting each other. Right? One's not invading the other. Right? It's just not right. So check this out. So one of those things that really helped me out with the tree medicine is that, below the surface, right? This is a surface like below the surface right here. It's like, the root systems. They're all holding on to each other. Right? And when one grandfather and a couple other grandmothers, they just said that, I'm like, wow, that's really beautiful. Wow. Right? What are we doing to help that, to understand that, to walk with that, to sustain that, right? That's just awesome. That's just like, so what are we doing below the surface, right? That's what that tells me. Like below the outward appearances. That's what that means, right? The outward appearances. Because a lot of us want to look good, sound good, and be right? Which is really kind of like that. Right? What we really want to be is loving and connected, right? That's it. So, that's that little cosmic shift, right? So what are we doing below the surface, outwardly, to make this world a better place? Right? No. And if no one said that, if no one said that they love you today, I love you very much. So let's kind of read this again. Um, kind of wrap this up. I kind of hate this, but we've got to wrap it up. We've got to wrap it up. So anyway, if our personal growth and transformation do not include the protection and healing of Mother Earth, it is what? Oh my God, we need to finish this. Incomplete, right? So if we're sad, lonely, depressed, um, you know, there's a place that needs to be one. And again, this is not a place of good, bad, right, or wrong. It's not bad, right. We have to include. That's what they're saying. We have to include more. We have to include in the beginning, and we have to keep including in order for us to be. And what are they saying? Incomplete. What are they really saying? Behind the teaching, full circle. That's what they're saying. And the full circle doesn't mean right or wrong, good or bad. It just means full circle, right? Intertwined and overlapping. And the more we do that, the more we see, feel, and realize that we are part of this beautiful thing called life. Right? Oh my God, I'm so grateful to be alive right now. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that I'm not drinking and driving. I'm not incarcerated, spiritually incarcerated, right? Or physically incarcerated, right? Or emotionally incarcerated. That's like the worst kind of incarcerated, because I'm walking around incarcerated and nobody else sees me, but I'm the only person who knows I'm incarcerated is me, right? That's it. And eventually, if I do that, then I'll be leading to, some sort of violent or drinking behavior, right? The same thing that I'll just revert to before, right? When they took me away from, when they did these things, all these things, all that chaos, right? That's just a bunch of chaos, right? Right. So we lump that into chaos, and then we come in here, and then we say, you know what? I'm going to include Mother Earth in everything. I'm going to help Mother Earth. I'm going to love Mother Earth. I'm going to hug a tree. Look, if I hug one tree, I hug all other trees, because they already know, right? That's pretty cool, right? So go hug a tree. Okay. I love you. All right, so a couple of announcements here, just kind of sad moments. Not the announcements are sad, but we're just kind of wrapping it up. So a couple of announcements. We are coming up, Denise Miller and myself. We are coming up on a journey through the seasons, the final chapter of 4, Journey Through the Seasons. It is where we talk about spirituality from all across the world, journey through the seasons. And we talked about a particular medicine of that season, of all seasons, of all tribes, of all nations too. It's really beautiful. It's really powerful. It's Denise Miller and myself. It's a little different than this right here, because the Sacred Feminine is right there. She's a grandmother, Métis grandmother. That is coming up. If you would like more information for that, just put it in a feed or private message me. And for our European friends, I will be over there in August. I'll be over there in Germany, doing exactly what we're doing here in Germany, and I'll be doing it in Hungary too. So if you're looking, if you want to meet, if you want to sit in a circle, I think that's a really good idea. Let's meet over there, and it looks like I'm going to be over there again in in October and November. So look for dates also, and we're planning a big trip to Asia after that the following year. So so this thing's just going to get better. So there we go. Kind of close your eyes. Close your eyes. Kind of put something beautiful, something what you need maybe for transformative kind of thing. Whatever that looks like. Just kind of close your eyes, and we'll let the Stendia Nations take us out. All right, kept it a little short. Once again, the final word always is this ceremony may end, but the ceremony in you does not end. So let's take what we lived here, learned here, loved here, and listened to here, and take it out to the 4 winds. This is no good to be all spiritual here if we don't take it out there. So that means put it here. If it doesn't go here, it doesn't go to our families, doesn't go to our communities, doesn't go to our nations. That means go far beyond hitting that share button. That means share it right here first. That means share right here first, then take it out. That means use kind words to everybody. That's what that means. And there was a question, well, can you clarify that? What does that mean? Well, be nice to everyone. Use kind words. That's what that means. Okay, my name's Kenny Whitmack, Standing Bear. And if no one said that they love you today, I love you very much. Let's have a great day.